I am in transition, which means I have a lot of time on my hands, and I decided to gather a ton of data, hours and hours worth of information about the manosphere, the YouTube manosphere specifically. And the manosphere is basically videos made by men for men. I didn't see any videos by women specifically for men. So these channels are like at least 60-70% male audience, and the message is clear. I mean, I have two major points because men only talk about money and women. That's a hyperbole. But I mean, those are my 2 points: money, purpose, and women. Like, what are you gonna do with women? Welcome to my channel. This is Spirit Soul Sense, information for your soul. I am Shareece, and like I said, I have 2 main points that I want to cover in this video because I watched so much stuff, like I'm telling you. And you know, I'm like a delicate flower in a kind of way. So some of the videos are like, this is just too much. It's just too much. Like, it's not made for me. So if you decide to check out any of these channels, just be aware that it might not be for you, and it might make you feel some type of way. Okay, so the first point that I observed on these channels is find your purpose. So this is a message to men specifically. You need to find what it is that makes your life meaningful. This is not exactly the wording that they use when they're talking about their videos. A lot of people say purpose, but a lot of other videos just say what not to do. So what you need to not do is get lost in the world of porn. I have realized that porn affects men very differently than it affects women, and more men have difficulties with porn and masturbating. If you are masturbating every day, no judgment, I care for you. That's why I'm doing this video. But if you are masturbating every day, I would strongly encourage you to like watch some of these videos and reduce your masturbating activities and figure out how else you can channel that energy, because the energy is in you. That's a creative sort of energy. You want to like create, like the whole purpose of, you know, it's the creation of life. So if you're masturbating every day, you have too much time on your hands where you're not working. So like, that's it. Like, you need to find something, find a job. So specifically, Kevin Samuels, I was watching, you know, he will say, men in your 20s, you need to like head down, get to work. So you need to be having like 2 jobs. You need to be like super busy. Your goal here is not to pursue women, your goal here is not to chase women, because real men pursue women. Your goal is not to chase women, and specifically chasing sex. I believe that one of the tasks of manhood is mastering your sexual drive. So this whole, I would have sex with her, like everywhere, that needs to be, yeah, you would maybe, but you won't, because you have some sort of self-control. So like in the same kind of realm of, you know, finding your purpose, so finding a job, a passion, something in your life that makes it meaningful, and then also reducing your masturbation, you then have time and energy to exercise. So a lot of these manosphere videos, they end up doing like before and afters of how they, you know, went from skinny, scrawny, weak. Is it weak? It's really like the pictures end up reflecting like an internal low self-esteem. The before pictures, they look like they have low self-esteem. But exercising is one of the ways that you can like increase the serotonin in your brain and all the feel-good hormones. And then you can also see the improvements in your body, which will lead to improved confidence and self-esteem. So like that's one of the major messages. Like, outside of women, leave women until later when you're like financially secure, and go about your business, get your money right. Okay? And I mean, I believe in economics. So I strongly encourage people to get your money right. Do that. And then point 2 is all about women, men, heterosexual men who are interested in women. Maybe they don't really understand women. That's how it seems. I mean, that's the messaging that they give. You guys don't understand women. Y'all are simps and betas, and you just don't get it, or what a woman. You don't even know what a woman wants. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, the messaging is men generally seem to not know what it is a woman wants. in my experience, I don't see that happening on the others. Like, I don't see a bunch of, I guess maybe there's not this inundated messaging that women don't understand men. Women seem to understand men, but want to do whatever they want. Like you know what a man wants, but you're gonna convince him that you are what he wants. Like that's more so what women would do. But men are learning to understand women on these channels, to understand how the average woman thinks, what it is the average woman wants. And so average is like in the middle, and there are extremes. So the average woman, is a certain type of woman who has a regular kind of job, who wants to do, regular things. I don't know, regular, basic. But it's not like, they're not talking about basic bitches. It's just the average woman. And there's nothing wrong with being like an average woman. That's what most people are. So they give you information about what it is that a woman wants. And essentially, a lot of the messaging is that women are dangerous. Or women can be dangerous. They have the potential to be dangerous. And any man who's had like some big life thing happen in his life, it probably was because of a woman. That's what the memes say. That's what the stories say. So if you're a man, then you know someone with a sort of Tanya Stevens lie story. If you're not familiar, she's a Caribbean artist, but she has this song where she talks about lying to her partner about the parentage of her child. So basically, she had a child by another man. I think maybe that's one of the most common ways that women are trifling. Nah, maybe. But I've heard in real life, like people I know in real life, and then in all these videos of these horrific things that have happened to men. And you have seen the stories of men being abused. I think one of the, in this time of like the Me Too movement, feminist movement, a lot of the issues are polarized, I would say. So like one of the things that I have often talked about, because I worked with sexual offenders, children. Think about that. I've worked with adolescent sexual offenders and victims. And it's like, what society says about anyone who's a victim of sexual assault or molestation. And I see some men in the manosphere trying to highlight that boys are sexually abused, not at the same rate as girls, but it's close. It's not like boys are rarely sexually. It's like it happens regularly. I regularly had boys who were sexually abused, taken advantage of by someone much older. Like that's the story. So I think the conversations that the men are having about it are usually centered on how women fail to acknowledge that, this is happening, and so I just think in so many ways, women and men have had a disconnect that's just been growing and growing over the years. But I think we all want the same thing, for everybody to be happy and healthy, and for children to be taken care of, and for relationships to, be healthy. That's what we're trying for. So these videos are, they're often fear-driven, fear-based. Like how do you say? In discussions about women and entering relationships with women, like I will tell you, the message is enter relationships mindfully. Do not just enter a relationship because you need someplace to stay. Do not just enter a relationship because she's giving you an ultimatum. Like really think about if this woman is going to make your life better. But the things that they often say are, don't get married, a lot. And, I looked at videos from black, white, like they're all saying the same thing. So women will take your money, because there's this idea of women as gold diggers. But it's like, women, there is a difference, because honestly, if I'm being quite honest, no, I'm not gonna marry a man with no money, right? But I'm not gonna marry a man making $20,000 a year. I mean, that just would seem really silly to me. If I'm looking for a man who's a provider, why would I pick a man who cannot provide? So there are women, because there are these level up videos, channels, what else do they call it? Hypergamy, all that stuff. And then men have to figure out, well, is she genuinely interested in me and in wanting us to grow spiritually, financially together? Or is she more like a leech who just wants to use me? And I think it's kind of hard to figure out. And so a lot of the messaging is that, you know, if a woman like refuses to have sex with you, that's like, but she wants like all the benefits of you without, I don't know, reciprocating. That's like one of the ways. But the overall message is be careful. Be careful about the woman that you choose to end up with. There are some channels that speak a lot about statistics. So here's a statistic for you. 50% of marriages end in divorce. They say that, and I say to people, percentages are difficult to really understand. But there has been a decline in divorces, but only because there's been a decline in marriages. So it's still like 50%. About 50% of marriages will end in divorce. Of those 50% that are still together, they're probably sexless marriages. So I mean, you keep that in mind when you get married. Because it's very, very important for you to figure out, because I've been doing so much research. This is another video on what is it that is going to ensure that a marriage will be healthy and happy for years to come. Not just at year 3 when you still like each other, but year 13 when you've actually gone through some things. What is it that's going to help you succeed? Do your research, figure out, really vet the person that you are committing yourself to. And then, and the last statistic is that of the 50% of marriages that end in divorce, about 70% of those marriages were ended, like the initiation for the divorce petition, ended by women. So a lot of the messaging on the manosphere is don't get married. The divorce laws are not in your favor because they're going to take half your money. But I say, how much money do you have? I'm not trying to shade you, but men seem to be worried about losing half the money they don't have. I'm just saying, I do not think it's helpful to live your life in fear, or to say you're not going to do something because you think maybe years down the road something bad might happen. Imagine if you did that about driving a car or going to work. I don't think I'll take this job because maybe 6 months later they're going to fire me. What? It don't make no sense to me. But you know, do what works for you. Do whatever makes you happy. I am actually taking a break from YouTube because I was lost in all the messaging and the information. Really, really good stuff. I agree with like 80 to 90% of what these men are saying. I don't always agree on the delivery, but I'm a woman. And the messages are for men. And so I really take no offense to that. But let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you think it may help.